Hey there, folks. Welcome back to a character creation prep for our CyberPunk Red live play that'll be going out. Today, we're going to be sitting with Jay. Say hello, Jay.
Hello, Jay.
And we're going to be working on his character, which is going to be Rockerboy, and we'll get into that in just a second. Um, Hopefully, you guys have seen some of our other videos and know kind of what we're doing and how we're building these down. But yeah, we're excited to get into it. We're gonna be starting with the um, the page 41 and 42 character tables, and kind of going through it. But let's start with Jay. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the character that you want to make today?
So this character, his name is Nate Everson. He once went by the handle of Midnight back when he was part of a rocker band, somewhat of a cyberpunky rocker band. They performed on stage with his guitar and his fellow bandmates. And basically a few years ago, when he was a little younger, something went terribly wrong, and he lost everything. And his bandmates turned against him. His business manager ran off with all the money, leaving Nate basically destitute. And so he has been trying to get back on his feet, still maintaining a cool persona as much as he can, keep his hair looking nice, that sort of thing. But generally speaking, he wants to regain what he once had.
Okay, which is a neat take. So the characters that we've made previous to this, we kind of talked about how everybody is at ability level 4, which is essentially like level 4, right? So it's showing how your character has progressed from being like a nobody, essentially, into the cyber runner that they are today. In this case, with Nate Midnight, we're having a character that was something before and maybe had a higher roll ability then, and then over time his roll ability has been coming down, and he's kind of softened. His edges have softened, and so he's trying to get back into that spotlight. So
Right.
I think that's a really interesting take on that. And there's plenty, especially in Dixie, for this rocker boy to fight back against the man with. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Normally we would say, well, first we need to decide if we're going with the Street Rat, Edge Runner, or Complete Package style of character builds.
Complete package if possible.
Yeah. Okay, so starting at pick a role, which we already have, obviously. Midnight's going to be a rocker boy. The rocker boy's ability is charismatic impact. They essentially can influence others by the sheer presence of personality. They also have some really neat additional kind of things that add on to that, depending on your ranks. It says what venues that you could expect to be able to play, the impact on a single fan that Midnight might be able to do, or impact on a small group of fans, even converting people into fans. Is something that's possible. So for the charismatic impact rank of 4, which is where Midnight will be starting, he can play in well-known clubs, small local clubs, things like that. He can convince a fan to do a major favor, like have a good night with them, or put in a good word for them, etc. Or he can have a small group of about 6 fans. Hang out, provide booze, drugs, or other party favors, and he can try to impact a huge group of fans by like having them buy his merchandise and recordings and stuff. So it'll be neat to see how this plays out in game. So that is the Rocker Boy role, pretty much. You'll be seeing more in the game as it plays. So we're actually going to go next to the life path, page 43.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go to page 43, and like we mentioned before, some of this is choosing it, some of it is rolling randomly, and some of it makes more sense for either one of those options. Do you have a cultural region that you were already picturing for Midnight?
Um, yeah, so when I looked on page 45, I saw the cultural region of North American, which was number one on that table. I just called it table one. That seemed to
Right.
be the most appropriate for him.
Okay. Do you have? Do you know what language what cultural language you would like to start with from that
Um,
branch?
I saw him due to his aptitude for vocal expression and I guess more of a neutral accent. I was really just going for something maybe Ohio, something Midwestern or even just as linguistically neutral as possible. I didn't really see him as having a particular twang in his voice or sounding like he was from New Orleans or anything, because his family came here when he was young, but he didn't actually grow up in New Orleans.
This is more of an actual foreign language. I didn't lean towards foreign. It's funny because some of the other characters that we've seen have an accent, so I definitely know what you're talking about. Frenchie has a very kind of thick French accent, and Bishop has a very kind of thick Scottish accent. I can see where you were leaning in that direction, but you could pick Chinese, for example, because maybe your parents are Chinese immigrants or from that area, and you would still, because it's one of the requirements, you would
Hmm.
still have street slang, which is essentially um, like the language of the street. Um,
What about
or
a Native American language?
I mean, you could. The way it sounded like that you were going was that you were assuming English, which is on this list as well. Street slang, while a lot of it is English, it is not English, the language itself.
Right.
So you could absolutely go like Navajo or a specific Native American language if that's the direction you wanted to go with.
Why don't I put Native American at first, and then later we can figure out what the most logical choices might be.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Okay, so this is making the assumption that your character's background is Native American, in so much as you um, probably know some of their traditions and a good form of that specific tribe's language and the like. Since it's on there, and you have four, you can put four in there because it's four free ranks,
Or on level or base.
four levels, four free levels. For some reason, base doesn't work on this character sheet, but that's fine. Whatever.
Because I am able
Okay.
to put a number there.
Interesting.
I am able to put one there. So
Huh. Well, let's leave it at 0 for now. We may end up switching that out.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that is cultural origins. Moving on to the next page. Your personality. Did you have a specific way you wanted to play the rocker boy so far?
He seems friendly and outgoing to me.
Perfect. You're gonna fit right in with the group. So far, that's what everybody has chosen.
Are you kidding me? Well,
Yeah.
in that case, maybe he should be arrogant, proud, and aloof.
However, you are planning on playing Midnight, that works. But go ahead and add that to the personality section of the character sheet.
Where is that on this sheet anyway?
Scroll down a little bit. And it's right. Yep, personality.
Oh, okay.
So cultural origin would North American, and then personality would be friendly and outgoing, or arrogant, proud, and aloof. However you wanted to go.
Got it.
And then we move to the next page. with clothing style and hairstyle.
Yeah, I was hoping I could do high fashion as sort of like, even if he may not afford it now, maybe it was the clothes that he, once had that he's managed
Well,
to keep.
and it's probably what he prefers, right? Things
Mhm.
that are flashy and kind of um, maybe they look a little bit strange to um, the downtrodden.
Mhm.
Yeah. So okay, high fashion. And then hairstyle. The picture you have looks kind of maybe
Short and blonde.
short and blonde. Yeah. We've been skipping past the affectation you're never without. But for
Oh,
you, it might make more of a sense because you are a rocker boy that people recognize.
yeah, I was thinking the fingerless glove makes sense.
Okay. So I didn't really see because what you value the most is actually a valued possession. Oh no, you're right. You're right because most valued possessions actually on there. Okay. So moving to the next. What do you value the most? Which does go into that box. But it's money, honor, your word, honesty, knowledge, vengeance, love, power, family, or friendship.
Screw these people. Power.
So that actually goes in the where you have fingerless right now. Because you're going to have something that's not most valuable person. How do you feel about most people? If you're friendly and outgoing, I would hope that you don't want to wipe them all out and let the cockroaches take over. People might be tools, use them for your own good and then discard them. That's feelings about people. Up and to the right. Yeah. You like most people? Yep. And then most valued person, which is going to be on the left there. Do you want to roll for that one, or do you have an idea?
This is on page 48.
Mark thinks that if you keep typing, the text will shrink, just to let you know. This is on page 48. Table 2 on page 48. Or table 3 on page 48. Depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to catch up to where you are.
I'm on page 48 on the page, 49 on the PDF. And I'm at most valued person in your life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So did you want to roll?
No, I already wrote the answer.
So yours is 5. You chose yourself.
I did.
Okay. Most valuable possession you own. Musical instrument is probably that choice for you, right?
Yeah, I'll just put guitar.
Yeah, because you have taken. It's been you've taken precautions to make sure that is like something that you take excellent care of.
Mm-hmm.
All right, page 49. Your background. This is kind of how your situation was, not necessarily your childhood environment or what happened to you, but kind of how you were raised. So if you were raised in a Beaverville, or if you were raised with parents who were corporate technicians or part of a nomad pack, or gangers or combat zoners, urban homeless.
Corporate managers.
Okay. Corporate managers. So that kind of leads into your environment, your childhood environment, because some of them make more sense for a corporate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a huge megastructure building controlled by a corp or the city, a corporate luxury star scraper high above the rest of the teeming rabble. Even just one of the Beavervilles grew up in the lap of corporate luxury.
Yeah.
Okay. And then a family crisis. What happened to you that put you, that kind of pushed you onto that route?
I'm just going to go with the family exile.
So, where were they exiled from and why?
So, his family, being corporate managers, would have been exiled due to some business dealing that his parents had done that went south. And so they literally traveled south because they decided to use Nate's innate singing ability to try to capitalize on that and begin to regain their fortune. So they kind of used him sort of like a child star. Like they wanted to put him on stage to say, well, we just lost everything, but our son can get it back for us. Not that they didn't love him, but they just saw a potential in him. And so I think that's how he was sort of pushed into that lifestyle.
Where are they now?
I would say that as his band grew and his business manager started taking over, his business manager somehow was able to take over all of his assets and almost became like a legal guardian and sort of cut out his folks to the point where they didn't have access to his funds anymore and had to leave.
Okay, so does Midnight know where his parents are?
No, that would have been towards the very end of his period as a star where he confronts his manager's like, no, I want to see my parents. It's been 6 months. What's been going on? Where are they? And then, everything goes to HE double hockey sticks and he doesn't know what happened to them. So eventually he wants to find them, but he's basically stuck in New Orleans now.
And they've kind of been exiled twice.
Yeah, double exile.
Thank you for that. I know exactly where they are.
Uh-oh.
And I know why you haven't been able to find them.
They're not stuck under somebody's fan boat, are they?
No, but your business manager may have told them that you wanted nothing to do with them. All right, so next we're going to move to we're going to come back to life goals. So we're going to move to your friends. So on the chart, it says roll 1d10 and subtract 7, minimum 1, or minimum 0. I've been doing minimum 1 because I want everybody to have at least one friend and one enemy and one love affair. So why don't you go ahead and give me yeah, there you go. Ooh.
Us.
You have more friends than anyone who's played so far.
Really?
Yeah, everyone else rolled. So it was minimum 1 for everyone, for both people.
I have twice as many friends as they do?
Yeah.
Well, he should.
Okay,
He's a good guy.
So roll another d10.
Just regular d10?
Yep, your regular d10. So your first friend is a partner or a co-worker.
Okay.
So you can write that down and we'll fluff it out. And then go ahead and give me another d10.
I wouldn't auto deal there.
Yeah, I think that's what Mark was saying, which as you type, the text will get smaller, but it'll fit.
Well, some of them did, some of them didn't. Numero 6.
I'm taking notes. 1 second. Okay, number 6 was an old enemy. So perhaps, and we'll get to this in a second, but perhaps one of your old bandmates has buried the hatchet. Partner slash coworker, and old enemy. Okay. All right. So now we're going to roll for enemies, which is down below the friends.
Oh yeah.
So go ahead and roll a d10. Yep. Okay. So minimum one. So you have one enemy, and I think we wanted to have that be ex friend. Person working for you, person you work for, partner or coworker. What do you think?
Well, if we want to stick with his band manager being the one to,
Okay.
screw him over.
So person who worked for you.
Yeah, I suppose it would be. So what do I put in the who tab? Do we put a name or just put manager?
Just put manager for now. Just on the coffee table. All right. Now. Caused a major public humiliation. Deserted or betrayed the other.
I will help you with that in a little bit. Okay. Can you lock the front door?
I think some serious betrayal went down.
Yeah. And what can they throw at you? I think this might be a random roll to see how they've rebuilt themselves the last handful of years.
1d10?
Yeah.
N.
An entire city or government or agency.
Okay.
I have something for that too.
What's going to happen?
I can't tell you. It ruins the fun. All right. Now we move to the next page for Sweet Revenge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What are you / they gonna do about it?
Well, if I had to put money on it, I'd say backstab them indirectly.
Okay. Is that what Midnight would do to this manager?
I think he would stab him in any place he could, back or otherwise, direct or indirect, vicariously through someone else.
All right.
In every way.
So, and let's go back real quick on this, and we'll add some fluff. So your friends, you have a partner or coworker?
I'd say coworker probably,
Okay.
or bandmate maybe, or I don't know if that's considered partner or coworker.
Do you want? Well, I mean, yeah, I'd say it's a coworker because
Okay.
you're in a band, right? You're in a new band, kind
Right.
of. So do we have a name for this new band?
Well, he wants to revive the old band, but I don't know if he's really come up with a name for a new one yet. Because he
All right,
wants to
so-
use his old fame again, kind of rekindle it.
So let's call the new band Midnight Road.
Okay.
That way, it's like a calling to the old band, and it's not that far off.
Right.
Midnight Road. And this coworker, if you play the guitar, what do you want the coworker to play?
Drums.
Male or female?
Male's fine.
Let's call him Jimmy Slick. How do you feel about that? Or do you have a name?
I like Jimmy Slick.
I wasn't given a name. Alright, so Jimmy Slick is your friend. He's a drummer for Midnight Road. Now, old enemy. For now, I'm going to say that this person, and you can come up with a fluff for it because it's your friend, but I'm going to say that they are not, while they are friendly with you, they're not comfortable restarting the band, which is why they're not part of Midnight Road. Not yet. Maybe a vocalist?
Okay.
And there's nothing I can do about the stuff they're picking up, Mark. I'm gonna have to get with you and try to figure out how to turn down the gain or something. It's fine now because there's literally no one in my living room. Okay.
I consider you somebody.
Thanks. No one but me. Alright, so your old enemy. Do you want it to be a vocalist? Bassist?
I like a backup vocalist.
Backup vocalist? Okay.
I actually might want to make the backup vocalist female.
Okay. Do you have a name?
No, not this time.
Okay. Do you want me to come up with one, or do you want to leave it blank for now?
I'll leave it blank for now. I tend to come up with names at the end.
Okay.
That's usually the last thing I do.
Oh, see, I do this in steps to make sure we don't forget anything.
Oh,
I
won't
like
forget.
that. I like that name. Good point, Anthony. All right. So then, do you want to come back for the manager name as well?
Yeah. I want something really slimy and grimy for him.
All right. Skip into your tragic love affairs. So go ahead and roll a d10 and subtract 7. Minimum 1. And then roll another d10. Your lover was kidnapped.
Lover napped.
Was lover napped. And for one reason or another, that ended the relationship.
Or loss.
Maybe that right there is what happened. Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sneaky little... I'll let that go.
Midnight, we think she was kidnapped. Her loss.
I love it.
And I'll have you come up with a name for that one too. Okay, life goals. So you already have a life goal as far as I know because we've been talking about this character for a while. And that life goal is to get rid of a bad reputation or
So
it was
here
right
it
for
is.
yours.
It's a combination of a lot of things. So I looked at this grid for a while and I realized that he's going to gain fame and recognition from a new band, but that's a means to an end. He's going to get rid of his bad reputation, but that too is a means to an end. What he's trying to gain is power because he never had it when he was growing up. From the very time he could crawl, his parents were controlling him, and then his teachers were controlling him, and then the band manager was controlling him, and he's never had any control in his life.
Huh.
Once.
Noted.
It's nothing. There's nothing bad. There's a couple dishwasher. There's clean dishes. I just gotta do a couple pans and grab those boxes in the washroom.
Juice boxes and take them out.
Just put them in the garage and then on
Anthony's asking, is she still kidnapped?
on Monday night we break down box.
No, Sunday.
Are you
Well-
working to get her back? Yeah.
Well, okay, I want to roll a D10.
Uh-huh.
If you don't mind, just sort of a little ad lib in here. I want to roll a D10 to find out how good she was.
So I gotta,
Did they see me or
A 10. I'm definitely trying to get her back. Nate wants her back pronto.
How long has she been missing?
We'll do 1d10 on that. One. So maybe it was pretty recent. Like a month ago. And since she is a 10, we got to find some good pictures.
All right. So, that's that. So we're going to skip to page 54. This is more specific life path to your role.
You talking about the one where it says musician?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think musician is the answer there. Is this on the character sheet as well?
Yeah, so it's on that sheet, same sheet, bottom right. Role specific life path.
Ah, okay.
So musician, who's gunning for you or your group? Old group member, rival group, corporate enemies, critic or influencer, old media star, romantic interest. We can just put manager, old manager.
I was going to say that, but in some ways, I could almost see the old manager thinking he'd already accomplished his mission. You know, like, I've already been screwed up and down enough, but perhaps...
Oh, well, I mean, if you don't want him to be your main enemy, that's fine.
No, he could be the main enemy, but I'm saying that, like, I could see it from his perspective as in, like, he's succeeded, so it's like he's not expecting to see me again, but if I start to pop up or make waves again, it's like, oh, so Midnight's back. All right. You know, crack knuckle, back to work again, you know?
Perhaps.
Yeah. So that is that, and where did he play? Is that the next one?
Are you a group or a solo act?
Group.
Group. Okay, so roll a d6. In private clubs.
Yeah. No comment from the peanut gallery.
Now, what was the reason that you were not? Oh, because you're not in the solo anymore. But the reason that your old one broke up was over creative differences, I guess.
If by creative differences you mean all the money was embezzled to the hands of one or more people, not including Nate, then yeah.
All right. So that's pretty much it for the background.
Cool.
Okay.
So now we're going to page 72.
Page, I believe so. 42, 72. Yep.
I did my research on like some people.
Nice. And it's actually going to be 78 because we're doing the complete package, and that's where that one really breaks it down.
Oh, very true.
So no stats higher than an 8 or lower than a 2. 62 points.
Right. So I can basically I can dump stat some of these if I want to and just make some of them 8s. As long as it all adds up to 62. Did I put this 6 in the right spot here?
So you're gonna have 6 on both sides technically,
Okay.
because as you use it during a session or during a chapter or whatever, it's not going to replenish, and then you'll have 0, but you'll still have 6 that refreshes once that refreshes.
Okay. Do you mind if I do this redistribution later? This does add up to 62, but I'm probably going to, like I said, change some of them to smaller numbers, and I just have to look into them a little bit more.
Well, I mean, that's part of what we're talking about, is how to build it.
Yeah. Usually I end up going backwards when it comes to attributes, because by the time I don't know what I need until I see what skills I have.
All right, well then let's go. Oh, so you mean come back to it during the broadcast? After
Yeah,
the
yeah.
show.
I don't want to
Okay.
like settle on something and then say, wait a minute, I need to have
Nope,
my
You're
reflex.
good. I thought you meant like come back to it 2 days from now.
Oh, no, I can do it tonight. I
Yeah.
just don't want to do it right now.
All right, so now we move to skills. So the way this works out is any skill that's bolded is something that everybody is expected, knowledge that they've expected to be picked up while living on the street and out in this world. 28 of these skill points, or of your 68 skill points overall, are on these. So after you've spent it, you have an additional 66 skill points that you can put elsewhere.
So it's not 86 in addition to these. So this
No.
is part of the 86.
This is part of the 86.
I see.
I keep trying to scroll down on your sheet.
Yeah, I don't think I can't tell if persuasion is bolded. It looks like it is.
It is. It is. And first aid is.
All right, did I miss anything?
Street slang
Ah, yes.
and perception.
What column is on?
Awareness skills, the first column.
Ah, there it is. Yeah, this is me like squinting my eyes at my TV. So
Okay, so of the different skills that you believe that your character probably would want and use as a rocker boy, we can go back and see if there are any specific skills used by his role for his kind of charisma and that kind of stats. We know you're going to want play instrument, which
Right.
is a technical skill under performance skills. And so you're going to want to put guitar in there, for example.
and I can have up to 6 points in a skill, right? Yeah, no skill higher than 6.
We may have missed that.
Because that's what it says when I read it. I was like, okay, 6 it is.
42. You keep going. You're good. I'm gonna look this up.
Okay. You said I had 60 points now, right?
60. Yes.
60. All right, I have a notepad. I'm keeping track of stuffs.
We're gonna have to go back and redo one of the characters at least. Page 88 on the page and 89 on the PDF. Actually, page 90 on the page. Oh, okay.
Yeah, page 88 has the higher than 6, no lower than 2.
Right, but if page 90 is the one for complete package, which is the rule set we're going off of. It still says no skill can be higher than 6.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I looked on the wrong page.
And,
It's the same
I'm
idea.
talking to our other players in the chat, and it looks like they followed that rule.
That's good.
I just know that all of my players, it's a blessing and a curse, each of you has a very different way of looking at skills and attributes. And so, as we were going through the different ways of going forward or going backwards, or building skills based on fluff, or building skills based on a realistic portrayal of this character or whatever, we want to make sure that we're hitting the right spaces. And so that's what they did too.
Question, is there skill defaulting in this game? Meaning if I don't put something in it, can I still roll it?
So I think I'm about to get an answer from our brain, from our rules brain. You can always roll an ability or ability plus luck points to attempt your skills. However, there are some skills that I don't think you can even get if you don't have certain role abilities, like surgery and for example, your Rockerboy. I'm probably not gonna let him make a roll to implant someone's cyber gear.
Oh.
Because that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But for most of these other skills, yeah, you might have picked up something or learned something on the streets or be able to luck your way through something. If I have no if I have no ties to the patient that you're operating on, maybe I will allow it if I want them to die.
Can I ask you skill-based questions?
Yeah.
Describe bureaucracy to me.
So that is understanding both how the political system works in a given situation, but also what red tape you can cut through, and what red tape needs to stay.
Does that include ganger bureaucracy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Although that ganger bureaucracy, I sometimes also lump into streetwise. That's a skill, right?
Is it?
Streetwise, under social skills.
Oh, okay.
Streetwise. So, also for the people out there, this is a unique situation because we've been doing a play-by-post so that my players can kind of get a better feel for this setting and this universe. And Jay is actually playing a modified version of the character he's been playing in the play-by-post. So he's gotten a chance to kind of get a feel for different things that this character might be doing a little bit, and what he wants for this character. Unlike the others who I think are, for the most part, are playing the types of characters they want to play, the roles that they want to play, but not the same character. Mark is saying, as bureaucracy falls underneath education skills, and he's right. Bureaucracy would let you learn about what you learned in school about street gangs and how they work and how they exist, while streetwise would be the knowledge of dealing with street gangs on the street.
Thank you. Trading, is that like a bartering, haggling type of thing?
Yeah. Which is going to be a thing for here, especially with all of the trading posts outside the city of Lumens Nouveau. Yeah.
Sorry if this is taking me a while.
No, you're good. We're here for you.
Aw. Even the listeners? Even the
listeners. They're here to make sure I don't put my foot in my mouth. Or to be more specific, bail me out when I put my foot in my mouth. Help me pull my foot out of my mouth.
Uh, tell me about tactics.
So, also an education skill, being able to um, plan, strategize, understand war and squad tactics, being able to maybe identify what somebody's trying to do if they're trying to play the combat field with you.
Okay. Basic tech, I'm guessing, is everyday type items, right?
Yeah, understanding how a blender works and being able to fix it.
Do I need a cyber tech skill to have cyber tech?
No.
Good.
Cyber tech is more like repairing cyber tech and identifying it. Some of it is even seeing maybe how much it's worth, that kind of stuff. Being able to identify it, but mostly working on it. All of the tech skills, like basic tech, cyber tech, med tech, are repairing and building those types of items. Electronics and security tech is understanding electronics, specifically the security, but more analog stuff, really.
Interesting. If I wish to raise demolitions later, is it twice the amount of skill points, or is it just ×2 for character gen?
Nope, it's ×2 whenever you go through it.
Okay.
Because those skills specifically require more time and resources to be able to learn.
Acting, is that capable of being done off stage, as in like pretending to be somebody? And
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Is that a ventriloquism thing too, or is that a separate skill?
No, they don't have a ventriloquism skill.
Would that be part of acting?
It would be part of acting, yeah. Mark says just do the demolitions. You don't need basic coordination if you just blow everything up.
Well, I thought too. Well, it doesn't take a skill to just drop something.
It does, though, to make sure you don't drop it on your face.
True.
Drop it at your feet. Set the timer, pull a baby Groot, and hit the wrong button.
What's the difference between paramedic and first aid?
I'm going to let Anthony type that in since he just went over that real quick. So give me 1 second.
I just thought you also liked serial killers.
I can start off by saying different types of wounds require different types of skills to heal them. So just stabilizing someone, first aid, it can be used for that because, and we talked about it a little bit before, but stabilizing, if for example, because it's going to happen because it's funny, Bishop takes a bullet to the lung and loses all of his hit points. He immediately on his turn has to make a death saving throw. If he passes that saving throw, he still has a penalty to roll again. And you have to roll underneath your body on a d10 to succeed at that death saving throw. If you fail one death saving throw, you're dead. So being able to stabilize someone is going to come in handy, which is one of the reasons I'm glad first aid, which does that, is on the list as it. First aid is better for easy crits. Paramedic is better for medium crits. Surgery is for heavy crits, and that's critical wounds. But only med techs can do surgery. So you could, as a normal person, have some training in paramedics, but only med techs could specialize in surgery.
Okay. Makes sense.
The more serious the critical injury, the less first aid helps.
You need second aid after that.
You need second aid after that, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I have a game mechanic philosophy question.
Okay.
Why isn't gamble luck-based?
I don't think we have any luck-based skills. So,
That's interesting too.
yeah, so luck is a strange stat. I'm not even sure if it should really be called a stat. It's kind of like empathy in that it changes. But you have luck points to spend to make a roll better. You don't have like I might make you make a luck roll, but that's a Daniel thing, not a system thing.
Okay.
Where is gambling? Where is gambling?
Oh, it's right here at the bottom left.
Oh, gamble.
I thought about
it's intelligence based and it's an education skill. That's interesting.
I was thinking about making him a good gambler, but I wasn't sure if I was like, well, if it's all luck anyway, what's the point? But if we might have something like that, I think it might be kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, Anthony, I had a comment for you that so the parts of this group have been playing Cyberpunk 2077 to help get us in the mindset and see kind of the way that some of this stuff falls together. Trauma Team wears helmets that have voice masking because otherwise you would be a target. So that's something to keep in mind, Anthony. That this group may not know that you're Trauma Team. They may think that you are like a local, like a Ripper Dog, but not as experienced yet. But yeah, that would be my guess is that, well, and it's up to you on what the people think you are. But once you have that helmet on, you're a Trauma Team, and I would say you probably don't want people knowing that you're Trauma Team unless you really trust them. Mark says he would imagine that gambling is intelligence-based because it's understanding the rules, the chance involved, and weighing statistical odds. The more levels you have on it, the better you understand the game, the chance, and it guides you how to play. Luck would come into play to modify your individual roles, which you can do. You could say, I really want to win this hand, so I'm going to spend 3 of my luck points to give me a +3 on this roll.
Interesting. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Cool. My next question is cryptography. I found to be intriguing because it's about knowing how messages to keep the average person figure out what you're saying, or cracking basic codes.
Not basic. I plan on using it quite a bit. It's not basic.
No, I meant basic with a small b.
Oh, okay.
Ordinary codes. I
apologize. I didn't mean basic to language. I meant cryptography in this sense is any coded language, period.
Right, but if I take points in cryptography, would I need to be able to have like security tech and being able to use computer? Like, could I be able to just have it to have it?
So, with very few exceptions, everyone understands how to use an agent, a smartphone. So, if, for example, Bishop, let's say Bishop took nothing in cryptography, okay? Bishop is a netrunner who understands computers and understands tech, but maybe doesn't understand anything about cryptography. Bishop could download a file that was encrypted, and be like, oh crap, I need to take this to a specialist that can decrypt it for me, or I can hand it off to you. He can send the file, flip the file over to your agent, and you could make a roll on cryptography to break the code. So you don't have to. It could be that it's one of your hobbies. Building ciphers is something that you enjoy doing.
Right. I could definitely see that happening, so I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Okay. I think Bishop did take some cryptography, but you can always use better, and people can help each other out too.
Right. I took 3 points in business, but I'm wondering if maybe it should be 0 given his history.
Well, it's been a handful of years. Maybe he's learning.
Maybe he kept rolling 1 every time. That's why he might have a good skill, but he just sucks.
He had the GM rolling for him.
Hey, I still claim what I claimed. You can keep rolling for me.
Yep, because he had Dan roll.
Deduction, is that like an investigation kind of skill?
It's Sherlock Holmes. Seeing the pieces and being able to put the pieces together. It is kind of investigation, although to me, investigation is also, and I don't even think we have investigation, do we? That falls under perception in part. But yeah, that's where I would say. I would say deduction is seeing the pieces of the puzzle and being able to tell you what the puzzle is and how all the pieces fit together. All right, that's enough. Come on. Hey, sausage puppy.
I have 9 more points, and I want to up some of the ones that started at 2.
Okay.
Let me see here. Let's write this. Human perception I was using in our play-by-post in the manner in which I felt it made sense. Was I correct?
Yes. So, perception is just like it is with every other role-playing game. That's what perception is. Human perception is more like empathic perception, looking at a person, being able to make judgments based on facial cues and maybe tone of voice and the way that they're holding their hands, things like that, to be able to make educated guesses as to how they are acting or reacting.
Right. Will I be able to make some edits to my skills later?
So once we get the base done and the base stats done, I don't mind if you guys go in and make changes off before we start the game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna tweak this around because I want to raise my regular perception. I may have to take a couple points from other places.
Yeah, this is really so that you and I can have a conversation about your character while we build it.
Okay, in that case, I've spent my points. I put zeros in places to make sure that I knew that they, I didn't forget about them. I took composition high up just because of the songwriting. Yeah, and so now that I have this, it starts to make me realize, what attributes mean the most for me. Do you want to go to the derived stats, or do you want to go back to the attributes?
So no, let's talk about the attributes really quick so that we can kind of get a feel for what stats you're going to put into what areas, and then you can do the numbers later. But what do you feel are important stats for this character? If you know what intelligence is, reflexes is kind of like hand-eye coordination, that kind of stuff. Dexterity is your movement of your body. The tech skill is how well you are essentially with tools and technical things. Cool is both your presence of mind, but it's also kind of your charisma. Will is your willpower and how not necessarily stubborn you are, but how stubborn you are. Luck is overall how much the universe loves you, and then the drive stats are the drive stats.
Well, I feel that if you threw him into a field of cucumbers, he would still be colder. That's how cool he is.
Okay, so obviously, as a rocker boy, you're going to want a high cool. I forgot movement and body as well. Movement is how quickly you move, and body is your strength and your health and all of that stuff. So you want cool to be pretty high. That's also for a lot of your social skills because you want him to be a social butterfly, right?
Right, and with attributes, you can be as high as 8, I think.
Yes, 8 is your max.
Right.
And you're probably going to want tech to be fairly high as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because tech is your playing your instrument. It's some of your kind of more specific neat little tech skills, and eventually, or not eventually, you took it. It's also going to be demolitions.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he blew up the bathroom at the high school or whatever. And
Well, I think when you and I were originally talking about it, we were also saying pyrotechnics. Like when you were putting on the band stuff with the band, you found that very fascinating, and maybe started getting training from some of the guys who were doing. Nice, Anthony. Yes, bathrooms all the time. Blowing them up. And maybe you found that fascinating and started learning from one of the pyrotechnic guys that were in the band. Okay, so those are the different stats. So what other stats are you thinking are going to be high or low? That you think that Midnight doesn't really need a high movement or a high dex?
He doesn't need high movement. He doesn't need high body. I realize it's to help determine hit points and stuff like that, but I think he's used to relying on other people to be around him. He's very rarely alone, and he's had fans like dive in front of bullets for him, so he just assumes that the world loves him. Even in your world, Daniel.
Okay, so when you make your second character...
Body is not a dump stat. So this is Khan, and
just keep in mind that it's not just, and I'm not advocating putting a high body in specifically, but just please keep in mind that you have to roll under your body stat on a death save. So if you have low hit points and a low body, it means that your death save is going to be, it's pretty easy to die, and it's easy to die in the system anyway, but that's just something to keep in mind. So
based on the hit points are 10 plus 5 times the average of body and will round up, so I can get the hit points up with willpower.
You can. The average right now is 40. 40.
40 hit points?
Yes.
Oh, I won't hit that. That's okay, though.
I was just saying that's the average.
Yeah. I would say his empathy would be extremely high.
Okay.
Empathy, cool, int, will, tech. Those would be the places that I would focus, whereas the body move would probably be the lowest. Reflexes and dex probably be in the middle. Okay. And the luck would be, I think that may be pretty decent as well.
Okay. So that sounds good. We can, I mean, you can modify those after the fact. Derived stats we can talk about, but until you have some of the numbers in, they're not going to make much of a difference. Humanity is an important stat. That's essentially 10 times your current empathy. I say current because as you put cyberware in your body, it lowers your overall humanity. Even if you got therapy, which is going to be a thing in this game, it allows you to regain some of that humanity, but you'll never be tip-top as you were. For every 10 points of humanity that you drop, it lowers your empathy by 1.
I think it's also a portion thereof from what I was reading, because it said like 39 drops to 3 or something. Yeah. I think I'm going to start with an 8 empathy, and then if I get any cyberware, it'll go down.
Okay. So humanity is a drive stat. Hit points is a drive stat. And I think those are really your only derived stats. Let's see.
I found my seriously wounded threshold is 50% of my HP, which we'll find out later.
Yes.
Excellent.
All right, so now we're going to go to start doing gear. So, you have, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this in a second, but you have 2550 in normal and gear. Weapons, armor. So that is... Weapons and armor starts on 91, but we're talking about gear, and that is... Uh, 104 or 99. And there is a note. Frenchie still charges other players for therapy. There's no free therapy for you all. because he's the med tech and he's the only person that is capable of doing therapy in the group.
It sounds very selfish. So I get 25, 50 euro bucks.
2550 euro bucks to spend on everything. You also get 800 eddies or euro bucks to spend on fashion and fashion wear.
So the 800 is on top, but only for fashion.
And fashion wear.
Excellent.
The reason I'm making that statement is because fashion wear is stuff like hair that changes color, skin that can have different skin tones, stuff like that. A body, like a watch that's embedded in your system. All right, so 2550. Now, if you sell out as a character, which means that you have ties to the mob, you have ties to law enforcement, you're part of law enforcement, or you're a part of a
Corp.
Oh, sweet.
Project Runway.
Thank you. Project Runway. I'm looking for the part where it's. Okay. Join the covert military, take up a life of organized crime, or sell out to a corporation. You can get an additional 1,500 eddies in cyberware. Just cyberware. So the 2550, if you have any money left, you get to keep it in your pocket. The 800, if you have any left, it disappears. The 1,500, if you have any left, it disappears.
Makes sense.
We can explain that because your manager messed you up so bad, you were on the down and out, and the only way you really survived was by joining/selling out to one of these organizations. But it really depends on how much and what cyberware you might want. Also of note, the cyberware comes with a free Neuralink cyberware, which is essentially what you need for a lot of other cyberware anyway.
Yeah.
So, in essence, you actually get 2,000 eddies in cyberware. But 500 is that. It also is worth noting that the seller option is supposed to be group-wide, and I'm doing it as an individual independent choice. And I'm doing that in part for specific reasons, but because 2 players already chose it, if you didn't choose it, then you're kind of starting behind the power curve a little bit. And the reason I'm hoping my players don't feel that they are at the bottom of the totem pole for that. It also allows. That's a good point, Anthony.
You predict your other 2 players to take that option?
They are. I think one will. I think the Netrunner will. I'm not sure on the Fixer yet, but my guess is yes. The people behind the scenes, the men behind the curtain, said that it's also the reason that it's behind the house, that it should be the whole group, is because they have more money for cyberware, but less control over their lives. If you did not take the buy-in, then you technically have more freedom than they do. But it also means that I have more hooks that I can put into different hooks I can put into more and different players.
Well, this sounds like a choice that almost gets made for the player by the player base and GM. So if the story or the campaign is better served with such a hook, so be it. My instincts were to say no, but if a sufficient reason, or if it just makes things easier for everybody, then I can do it. It's not. I'm sort of indifferent when it comes to do I really need it or not. So I'd rather just do what's best for everybody.
Then we need to decide which of the 3 you want to do.
Okay, what page am I going to go to?
So it is page 118 on the book, 119 on the PDF. And essentially it is part
It should be- it's
of
around
you are
right now.
part of
You
the
know,
government, like a secret part of the government, whether it's figuring out what's happening in Dixie or protecting national interests, that kind of stuff. That would be what the covert military is. Life of organized crime is working for the mob, and selling out to a corporation is just like it says on the tin, and it's probably, in my opinion, would be the easiest for you to take.
Does everybody have the same one?
No. But the corporation one for you, because of where you were raised, would make the most sense to me. That you were used to being in a corporate pocket. So when you were down and out, and the corp wanted to bring you back into the fold, to use you, it wasn't. It may not have been that far of a grip.
That makes sense. I would say that.
Or you signed on to a label, and now you have to do their music and their jobs. That's a good one.
I think that if he,
Not yet.
we can do the corp thing, but that might actually be a good medium-term goal for him. Is like get out from under their thumb.
Well, that's yes. So that's that's kind of the goal for all of the people taking this background, is that they don't like the lack of choice and the having to do what they say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so you will have 1500 cyber and Neuralink.
$1,500 for cyber and a free Neuralink,
Yes.
and I have $2,550 for everything.
For
Yeah, I
weapons,
have.
armor, gear, programs, which you're not running programs, but
800 EB for fashion and fashion wear,
yeah.
and 1,500 for cyber plus free neuro. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm making notes here in my notepad, and sell out to corp. And you can tell me what corp it is.
Yeah, that's something you and I'll work with.
Cool.
Okay, so let's start with weapons.
Yeah, I was trying to get to
weapons and
there.
armor.
That's
So
90,
I'm
right?
at page 91. Yeah.
Yeah, basically he can use a handgun.
Okay, so what do you see him with? You already talked about how he kind of thinks the world loves him. Would he be the heavy pistol type or the medium pistol type? The very heavy pistol type? Is this a weapon he bought or a weapon he was given?
I would think that because he thinks of himself as this big star, he would want the most concealable weapon that actually pack a punch that he could hide in his vest, or it's concealable enough, maybe like a cane gun. I know it's kind of cliche, but like something that's very concealable, but it's sort of an emergency. Like if his 12 bodyguards don't help him, it's like, oh, I got to whip this out and do something about it. Now he doesn't have that status right now, but that's what he kind of lived with.
Right.
So I can see him being comfortable with it, which is why his skill is so minimal. I didn't want it to be high. I want him to learn to get better because of what he's in for now.
So
Logically, it makes sense for me to have a high handgun skill, but he shouldn't because he hasn't used it much.
right. He knows that living on the street, he has to protect himself, but how much of that is that? Yeah. So medium pistol and heavy pistol can both be concealed. Anthony was wondering about a cyber arm pistol.
No, maybe down the road.
The SMG is also a handgun and also concealable. Just like
I think a medium pistol is fine.
okay. So that's 50 eddies. Damage is 2d6. Ammo is 12. Rate of fire is 2. And it doesn't have any special. No, it's not really. P91.
But no, page 94. I put pages on everything that I can.
Okay. Do you want more ammunition than the one thing of ammo that comes with it?
Nah.
So you've had the same bullets loaded since you bought it.
Well, maybe he's, gone through for however long he's been in this situation, but yeah, he's going to learn his lessons hard. I know this. And everybody around is going to be like, Nate, what the hell, man? Why don't you got another clip? And he's like, what's that mean? Oh, you mean this thing around oh, I see, yeah. This he's going to show his belt and it's not going to have any.
So just so that everybody knows, I have said this is a dangerous setting multiple times, so there shouldn't be any hurt feelings.
I'm not expecting to live. I'm just telling you what I want to play.
No,
I didn't say I was going to play a successful character.
Bishop is also playing, or Mark is playing Bishop as a kind of a not pacifist, but he doesn't want to flatline anyone, so he's trying to be very careful with how he plays as well. All right, so looking at armor, page 97. Oh no, so different.
Okay.
This is not a family show, so I can say do whatever I feel like.
I have access to the best armor I can afford.
Oh, hold on. So we bought you a kind of normal pistol, standard pistol, but an excellent pistol is twice as much and gives you a +1 to hit. If Midnight was gonna buy a gun, he probably would have bought the excellent one, right?
Well, this also could have been,
Right,
gifted
but
to him.
that's what I'm asking. Do you want him to buy a blingy gun, a golden gun?
No, he wouldn't. He, as far as he's concerned, he wouldn't use it that much. So,
Right, but for the style.
no, I get you. I'll consider it.
Scare people off with it, yeah. Okay, so armor at 97, page 97.
I'm there.
Light armor jack is about the average that people wear. And it can be kind of woven into clothing for the most part.
What if, just for example, I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but let's suppose he would get something like a medium armor jacket. Is that the kind of thing that's like super obvious armor and, you can't put a scarf around it because it's so huge, or what?
So, light armor jack is a light armor jacket. It looks like clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a leather jacket. Jack is short for jacket. So it's like wearing leather pants that have a weave of Kevlar and plastic mesh inserted into the leather of your pants and the leather of your jacket. And then you also, under normal circumstances, also have a helmet that you buy with armor.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get head damage separate from body damage.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could have a leather jacket with a leather or an armor jacket with an armor jack hood that's always up, or an armor jack hat that covers the majority of your head.
Is there anything aside from the penalties? Is there anything stopping him from having medium or heavy or flak?
So the heavier the armor, the more obvious it is. So medium is a heavier armor jack with solid plastic plating and reinforced thicker Kevlar mesh. So there's nothing that stops him. There isn't like a proficiency like you
Right.
might see with other things. It's just how obvious you are.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy jacket is the thickest, combining dense Kevlar and a layered mix of plastic and mesh weaves, which is why it has the +1 stopping power, but it also penalizes your
Marble,
reflex,
shut up.
dex, and movement because it makes you slower. You're not as dexterous.
I think from your tone of voice and what is most likely recommendations from people in chat I cannot see, I think my option is light armor jacket.
So light armor jacket to medium armor jacket would be probably, in my opinion, what I would consider your character wearing. But I don't really see them wearing medium armor jacket. And for the additional +1 damage stopping power, it's significantly more obvious and penalizing. So it'll be 200 EB, 100 for the jacket, 100 for the clothing, 100 for the helmet.
Oh, let me go back to my notes.
Unless the helmet comes with it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's listed separately. Alright, so subtract that 200 from your gear.
That's 300. I thought you said it was 100
Nope.
and 200.
Nope, it is 100 and 100, making 200. You got chopstick, Mark. You have to stab things to eat it.
Cool. He is not carrying a shield.
So, also of note, and Anthony makes a valid point, which is the phrasing that is on this page. It says, "Don't be an idiot. Match your armor to your situation. If you're pulling a bodyguard job at a charity ball for an exec, you'll just embarrass yourself, and your employer will show up full of riot gear. You'll just embarrass yourself if your employer show up in riot gear. Sure, I've got a set of flak that makes me look like I'm going to war, but I also picked up a Duraweave fiber business suit from Tanaka, pre-war tech. It makes me look like I belong in a corporate headquarters, but it can stop a pistol fire dead." So he's right. You, especially if you have the funds, that's an in-game quote. You could get multiple suits that you fit for the situation.
Right. What do I... Oh, I think I put this in the wrong spot. What do I put for head?
At 11.
Oh, okay, so it's the same thing?
It offers the same protection to your dome.
Okay. So that's weapon and armor.
Mm-hmm.
I know, it's hard to cope with this.
I had a large bite of spaghetti that started to choke me. Okay. Looking on page 100.
I'm right there with the agent.
Yep. So, your agent.
Actually, I think I'll just put the EB for now, because I think they're all... starts on page 100 anyway.
Marble, shut up.
Okay. But I'm not sure what other things you might want. I think you probably want an audio recorder. Being that you are somebody who was a celebrity, you may want a brain dance viewer, but that's 1,000. It's very expensive. Maybe something to work up to.
Yeah, I'll work up to it.
Yeah. a electric guitar, which is 500, though you can have a poor quality one if you would like, or
What
an
about the
excellent quality one.
what about the bug detector? Is that
Yeah, for somebody who's paranoid.
maybe, yeah. I think I'll have a carry-all. You know what? He may not have watched any episodes of MacGyver, but I think duct tape is probably a wise move.
True, true. Yeah, for example, an excellent guitar, which is what I was talking about earlier. You could get a +1 to all checks with the guitar, and possibly other social stuff if you were talking with fans. But it's going to be 1,000 instead of 500.
Yeah. What about the radio communicators? That's something if we all get, we can all communicate with each other at a distance.
Yes. Currently, you could call each other on agents, but that allows you to have something in your ears that's not as obvious as you talking into an agent. Yeah.
So what do smart glasses do without the cyber tech to go with it?
They let you put 2 cyber optic options in them, like telescoping, or being able to see heat vision, or
Basically like cyberware, but instead it's in the glasses.
uh-huh.
Okay. There we go. And if I do fashion, am I buying them all individually?
Well, so you are, but we'll get there.
Okay.
So pocket amplifier is probably something that you're gonna want. Maybe a video camera.
Why did I not see pocket amplifier? Can support up to 2 instruments. He only has 1 instrument though.
Well, up to 2. You have a drummer. You also have memory chips. You're gonna want probably 5 memory chips for the audio recorder. In practice, it's so that you can record your songs and whatnot. But, you want to have that option.
So am I done with generic gear?
If you want to be.
Yeah, I think I can move on.
All right. So high fashion. Wow. Oh wow. So we've been looking at most of the other two people are mostly Urban Flash. Yeah. I would say that you probably are picking like one item that you really, really like a hat or a shirt. Not even a hat. It has 5,000.
Wait a minute, don't I get
800?
I get 800 for the fashion of the fashion wear.
Mm-hmm.
Holy for holies. But I can dip into my normal money.
Oh yeah. You don't have much though.
He's been told he does have nice bottoms, but I'm not sure if it's because of the fashion.
He has nice bottoms or he is a nice bottom?
No, but he gets complimented on his clothes, but that's okay. I'll have to look at this a little more in detail, actually. I don't think he's going to get the jewelry, because it's probably out of his price range. You know what? Where'd it go? The smart glasses. Can I do the smart glasses in concert with the fashion? Can I make fashionable smart glasses and just combo them into one piece?
Yeah.
I'll do that. And I'll just dip 200 into the normal money. How's that feel?
So what other clothing are you wearing? Or do you just prefer to
He's buck naked with those glasses.
Well, but those glasses you're already I see what you did. I see what you did there, okay.
Well, I'm assuming he's got like regular clothing and just really nice glasses and his armor.
So, we need to kind of, because it affects some things, we kind of need to pick how you're dressed.
What table is on?
You have, it's on the same table on 102, but if you have glasses, but there's no free clothing.
I see.
Even if you're dressing bohemian, which is really cheap, or bag
lady. Yeah, I think it would be an odd combo in his life of having to resort to wear bag lady clothing with really nice glasses.
Oh, you're having him wear bag lady clothing?
Yeah, the rest of it is going to be that.
Okay. So super, super vagrant, stained clothing, and very nice glasses.
Nobody else did that.
You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
He doesn't need jacket if he's got the armor jacket. So it'd be footwear, jewelry, which is like one brass ring around his.
Nice, Anthony.
He's got a bag lady's hat.
Okay. Okay, what are we at for your 2550? Not counting the extra 200 because that came from fashion.
No. The 200 was after fashion because fashion's 800, but I spent 1,000 on the glasses, on the high society fashion glasses.
Okay.
So I already chewed through the 800, but I had to spend another 200, which is why I put it here.
Okay. I see. So Anthony says it's 1770.
Where? What's 1770?
Your list, your gear list. Does that sound about
Okay.
right?
Sure.
All right. So that leaves you roughly 600. I'm gonna get corrected in just a second. Of your original starting cash, and then we have cyberware.
780 would be what I have left.
Okay,
I just did it in my head.
nice. So write that down somewhere so that you know you have that left over, like maybe in the cash section underneath your gear.
I'll probably end up spending it anyway.
Sure.
Go back and find little things that I can get.
Yeah.
Maybe another clip of ammo if I absolutely have to.
All right, so excuse me. Let's look at what we have here. So you have a Neuralink. There are some options that get filed into Neuralink.
What page is these? Is that 110? 112. Okay.
I mean, technically, fashion wear, also biomonitor, chem skin, EMP threading, light tattoo, which would be neat for your character. Shift tax, which are color changing lenses implanted in the eye, skin watch, and tech hair. All of that would be neat.
So what goes in this box for... Oh, just the fact that I have it. Okay. And then I choose... For Neuralink, I choose certain things underneath it.
So, for both of you in the chat, what was that? Go ahead. Say it again. Jay?
I said I checked the Neuralink. Do I choose things for free underneath it, or am I still paying for the things underneath it?
You're paying... You have 1,500 eddies to spend on cyber gear.
Okay.
And you also can still choose fashion wear because it's still... I have it as both. So if you wanted, since you're a celebrity, to have chem skin, tech hair, light tattoos, shifting contacts that shift your eye color, if you wanted any of those, you still could have buy them with the 1,500 that you have.
Roger that. I'm going to be looking at cyber audio as well.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted him to be able to hear from great distances.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's amp hearing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought so. So I want to find his ears. Cyber audio, okay. So yes, I have cyber audio. The frickin' tab.
So keep in mind that you'll have to start with a cyber audio suite, which is 500.
Mm-hmm.
Then adding the amplified hearing.
Mm-hmm.
We could get rid of your audio recorder that's in your gear and instead get you an audio recorder here if you wanted.
I was looking at that. I think I'll just keep it in the gear. I'm actually curious about something. When you get cyberware, is there like because in Shadowrun they call it essence, but what's being taken away to determine what you're losing?
If you look to the right where it says HL, that's
I see that.
humanity loss. So you'll lose 7 for the cyber audio suite and 3 for the amplified hearing. So 10 so far.
What's that 2d6 and 1d6 stuff going on?
So you could roll randomly Oh, and 7 for the Neuralink. Thank you. You could roll randomly, but I'm using just these numbers as
Okay.
averages.
So 7 from the neuro, 7 from the suite, and 3 from the amp.
Yep. And that's if you don't do any other cyberware.
Right.
We can. It's still fun to look.
Oh, of course.
Level dampener. Level damper is interesting. It makes you immune to loud noises.
Mhm.
Guns going off right by your head, music playing in the same area. You can hear your fans over your drummer.
Mhm. I scrolled down to internal cyber. I see Cyber Snake, and I'm just
Yep. Yep. Also the what's underneath that, but audio vox
yeah.
is interesting because it's helps you play up voice synthesizing. There is a Zoom link in OOC.
I've spent 1,100 so far.
Okay. Of the 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to do with the Dr. Stud or Mr. Stud. I think I'm going to stay away from that.
Vampires is kind of neat because it would give you a another kind of thing you might be known for as the Midnight Riders. If you all had vampires, so like the vampire teeth. And then cyber limbs get very expensive. But there are options there too.
I'm going to go with Biomonitor.
Okay. Oh. Before you add a bunch of stuff, it was Mark. Sorry, thank you, Mark and Anthony. We need to look also at your glasses.
I just took that in my high fashion, though.
No. Your glasses give you 2 cyberware implant spots.
Oh, yeah. I'm assuming it's cyber optics.
Right.
Yeah. I have to spend that with my regular money because I have 700.
It's technically cyberware because it's still cyberware that fits into your glasses.
Okay, well, actually, I have enough.
It can be both. It doesn't matter. Either one.
I actually just spent all of my 1,500, and I'm about to spend 600 out of the cyber optics. I think. Yeah, I think the tele-optics is kind of neat because he can see detail up to 800 meters away.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's not a ranged guy, I think that's still kind of nice. unless you have something to say against it.
Mm-mm. Especially if you took a skill like read lips.
I did. So that's one of the reasons I took it, because I thought, well, I want to be able to read lips from a long way away. So I'm going to put, let's see, I'm trying to think of where to put this. I guess right here in the left cyber eye.
But don't check the box.
Yeah. And I'll do the anti-dazzle. Razzle dazzle. So with that, my calculation gives me 180 bucks left to probably spend on a rope or some other dumb thing. I spent my cyber. I got my free neuro. I haven't calculated my humanity, but I'll do that in a minute. Obviously, I spent my fashion and then some. Got my weapon armor, my clothing, my really nice glasses with stuff in it. So yes. What do you think?
It's awesome. Yeah.
Did I choose things you expected or not expected?
Yeah, you chose. I mean, I think you chose stuff I pretty much expected. I didn't expect the smart glasses, but I think that's a neat touch.
You do know he doesn't have any legs, right? Those were cut off when he was young. He's in a wheelchair.
It's gonna make some things in this game a little bit more difficult, but cool.
I'm just kidding.
No,
You just woke up
no,
from a dream.
you said it. It's done.
Okay, so where to next?
1 second. Hey, Mark, can you please post the Zoom link again in the OOC because it's so far up? All right. So next. We did outfit. We did cyberware.
Housing?
Housing. Yeah.
What page is that
Lifestyle and
on?
housing. Page 105. Kind of. 337. One of the great things about this PDF and not.
Well, I already spent all my fashion money, so I have to tip in my 180 bucks to get.
So you
place
get
to live.
1 month. You get 1 month of this stuff that makes sense, starting off. And after that 1 month, you're gonna have to meet rent and you're gonna have to meet food monthly costs, or you get evicted and you're on the street.
Where's the table for that? I don't see it anywhere.
So 377 and 378.
Oh, I went to 105 threes. Oh, right. So
I
Do I pay
love
for the-
that. I love that the PDF actually has hyperlinks that moves you back and forth. But the problem is they'll send you to one page, which sends you to another page, which sends you to another page.
yeah.
So
Do I buy the lifestyle now?
So you would, yes, within reason, because you could say,
I can only afford the kibble lifestyle.
right, which, I mean, for character-wise, that makes sense. You're probably going to be kibble and container, or cube hotel, but probably cargo container, and then at the beginning of next month, you'll have to pay it. Alright, so, for those behind the scenes, His glasses for luxury were super expensive, so expensive I think they were 1,000. So he spent all 800 of the fashion wear and then spent 200 of his normal monies to help finish paying that off. Anthony has different numbers than you do, Jay.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
What am I putting housing? Because lifestyle's kibble. Oh, wait a minute.
I would put kibble / cargo container or cargo.
I'll just put cargo here because I got kibble over there.
Okay. And rent is actually 1,000 eddies a month, not 100. Unless you want a cube hotel, which is essentially a coffin hotel or a... Mark's going to type it again because he keeps every time I say it wrong.
Oh, the kibble. It says on the kibble.
Capsule hotel.
It says on the kibble lifestyle, it says 100 on page 377.
That's the monthly cost to eat for food. And then if you look at the next page, it tells you how much living on the street or living on the street in a vehicle, living in a cube hotel, living in a cargo container, buying a cargo container.
Am I spending the 1,000 now for rent or at the end?
In theory, last month, you paid your rent and you paid your kibble bill. So you have rent for this month done and food for this month done. But, sorry, let's say, perfect world, we start January 1st. Both in reality and in the game. January will be covered. Right, you paid rent and you paid for your food, but by February you're gonna need to make another 1,100 in order to live the way you've been living.
Right.
So that's the missions that you're gonna be doing in January is to pay for your lifestyle. So if you're living in a luxury penthouse, you're gonna have to figure out some way to make 15,000 eddies by February 1st.
Easily done.
Right.
Okay, I get it now.
Okay. And that's that. All right, so now we have some of the fluffy homework stuff. Which, because you have issues sometimes with names, you may have to get back to me. But I need 3 points of contact from you, people that you know in the city, that are your friends or people that you come in contact with, that are not related to edge running, and aren't just fans that'll do anything for you. You know what I mean?
I do.
Okay, and I need 3 locations that are not necessarily tied to your... I mean, you play in private clubs, so if you wanted to list a private club, that makes sense. But not like places where you get side jobs or that kind of stuff. Just 3 places that Midnight likes to go in the city. Likes to spend time. So I will need those from you. But other than that, I think we're done. You'll have to play with the numbers a little bit, like you were talking about. Make some decisions. And make sure you add the additional bonuses for your different cyberware on whatever things you've got, like your cards.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's about it. Do you have any questions?
Well, I think I got us right under to the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
I should get a bonus for that. What do we call XP in this game?
So XP works a little bit differently. You essentially get improvement points based on the type of character you're playing and the type of player you are. I'm gonna have probably a sit down with everybody either before we do our first session or at the end of our first session to talk about how that's going to work. Because I need you guys to play these characters a little bit to see how you're going to play them. for that process.
And do I have reputation?
Not yet.
Okay. In that case, thank you very much for your assistance. Thank you to Anthony and Mark for your help as well. And thank you to everyone who's watching for enjoying this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, you guys, and thanks, Jay, for making your character. I'm looking forward to seeing Midnight in the flesh. Well, not in the flesh, but in the actual CyberPunk live play. And as always, thank you guys very much. I'm really looking forward to this, and we really look forward to having you view us in the live play. Go ahead and keep track of what we're watching. You note the stuff on the side because Mark usually jumps in for this. You can help out by covering some of. Wow, my brain is just gone. I don't do this part, but have a good day.
Bye.